Hi everyone, I'm Haley Mermaid, and I want to take a minute to talk about basic silicone tails and answer some questions that y'all have about them. So back in 2011, 2012, Mer-Tailor came out with a affordable but realistic tail, the basic latex tail, which then went into a basic silicone tail. And as far as I can tell, he was the first one to make tails this way. And then a few other people later on started making tails this way, and we had tail makers like Fish Butts and Purple Mermaid Studios, and they all made tails this way, and it was an affordable thing, so it was very popular to see people buying these tails. The problem is that these tails were made with caulking, silicone in a tube, and this is not skin safe. And you can read all about that, the debate about the safety of caulking for tails on my blog, but basically this is just not recommended for mermaid tails. It even says on the tube here, not recommended for underwater use. So when people started realizing that this wasn't really a safe way to make tails, this kind of stopped. So nowadays there are a handful of people that still have one, or people that make their own using an outdated YouTube tutorial, but for the most part tails aren't really made this way or sold this way. So basically I had this idea of making these tails the same way but using the industry standard for skin safe silicone, which is dragon skin, and I came up with my version of the basic silicone tail. Another note about using this kind of silicone is this doesn't stretch. So when you make a mermaid tail out of it, it's gonna rip. The silicone is gonna tear and start to peel. I've actually repaired a few of these older tails, and I have some close-up comparison videos between the older ones and mine, and I'll show you some of that now. This orange tail is the basic silicone tail I made. The blue is a Mer-Tailor. You can see the scales are made the same way, so they look like exactly the same. The Mer-Tailor has been repaired, so it's kind of hard to tell what the original seams look like, but this is what the seams on mine look like, and the comparison to one of the parts of the seam that's still original right there. I did put in a tag, like a warning label. Mer-Tailor didn't have that, but you can see the fabric and the way they're made is pretty much identical, except mine is dragon skin and the blue one is made out of caulking. And you can see in that comparison there that mine does have more stretch. The flukes are pretty different. So you can see how thick this Mer-Tailor fluke is compared to how floppy mine is. Honestly, it's cheaper to make them thin because it uses less material. So this is a way to keep them affordable but still skin safe. I guess I could do a thicker fluke. It would just take a lot more material and it would be heavier. The orange one, the whole tail weighs like 8 pounds. This blue tail is a lot heavier than that. I think it's around 15. A tail like this blue one was actually my first professional tail, so it's really cool that I'm able to bring these back. I would also like to note that Mer-Tailor stopped making these tails a very long time ago, and nobody has made them the way I'm making them. Just to point that out, because I know there's going to be a lot of comments that are upset that I copied the way these were made. But I waited until they had been discontinued before I made my version of it. Alright, so now I want to take some time to show you up close with my version of the basic silicone tail. And again, as far as I know, I am the only person that makes a tail this way out of dragon skin silicone, making it the cheapest you can possibly get a skin-safe silicone tail on the entire mermaid market, which I think is pretty cool because I've always wanted to provide quality that is still affordable. So I actually have 3 basic silicone tails that are my own personal tails. So I have my koi fish tail, I have my dolphin shark inspired tail, and I have my splash inspired tail. So I'm going to show you close up of all 3 because they show all the different options that I have available for basic silicone tails. First, let's take a look at the scales. So this is meant to be a very basic and affordable tail. So the scales are not going to be, perfect and super detailed. But you can upgrade to a molded scale design. So you can do the classic rounded scales like what you're seeing here. And if you upgrade to a molded scale design, you can do a solid color, 2 colors swirled like what you're seeing in the blue there with some glitter. or you can do a custom design like the skeleton tail I did. Custom designs do cost a little bit more, but look how cool this is. It glows in the dark. Another molded upgrade option I have is the scaleless tail, kind of like dolphin skin, and this is what it looks like up close, that texture. For the fluke, I do pretty much any shape because they're custom and they're carved on there, so you can do all these different textures and all these different custom shapes. This one is like the tail from Splash, so it's got all these little detailed lines in there. You can upgrade to a molded fluke. The most popular options are the basic fluke, like what you're seeing right there, and the H2O style fluke. For the seams, it comes with just a straight stitched regular seam, but I can do a seam softening, like what you're seeing right there with the gray. My koi fish tail also has softened seams, and this is what the softer, more blended seams look like when I'm swimming. It's not as noticeable, more realistic. You can see that right there with the gray tail as well. The inside of the tail is sewn on the side seams, so I do recommend wearing leggings because it can get a little itchy in there. And for more upgrade options, you can also add a pair of fins. I do custom carved fins as well. This is a siren-inspired tail that I made for a client recently. Lastly, I want to talk about durability. I've had some questions about this. So this tail was used by several people for mermaid shows, and typically the only wear and tear I'm seeing are little scuff marks, like right there on the heels, or a popped seam. And these are both very easy to repair. I do offer repair classes and repair kits online as well. With proper care, these tails will last you years, but it's not going to hold up as long or as well as a full silicone tail would. Please leave any more questions you have about these tails in the comments, and I hope you like this video.